Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to my channel. You're very welcome here. And as you may already know, we discuss all things to do with narcissistic family systems. If you've come from perhaps having a narcissistic parent or you found yourself in narcissistic relationships in adult life, we explore the impact of those early childhood wounds and how they play out in adulthood. And the topic that we're looking at today comes from a request by one of my viewers who asked, could we begin to explore a bit about the impact on the relationship between siblings when you grow up with a narcissistic parent? So today the topic is the narcissistic parent, the origins of sibling rivalry, and projection and splitting. So that's what I hope to cover in this video today. Just the origins now of where sibling rivalry begins in these narcissistic family systems. So as we know already, I'm sure, that in a narcissistic family system, the narcissistic parent will assign different roles to each of their children. You'll have heard of the golden child and the scapegoat, primarily are the most recognizable ones, but there are others. Now, you may ask yourself, well, why assign different roles to children? Why not, why not make them all golden children and have them compete against each other as golden children? Well, there's a very important reason. You see, the narcissistic parent needs to have different roles for their children, and the reason is they need to project. Now, how I like to put it is the narcissistic parent is not able to go within and connect with themselves. Instead, what they do is they look outside of themselves for who they are. So as the result of early childhood trauma, deep trauma, the narcissistic person believes that their true self, their vulnerable self is the enemy. So they cut off from who they really are, and they decide instead to put on an exterior shield. And so they use projection in order to do this. So the narcissist doesn't know who they really are, as I was saying. What they need instead is a mirror. So in order to know who they are, they need to see themselves reflected back. So in a narcissistic family, a narcissistic parent chooses one child to reflect back all the qualities that the narcissist wants to be like, and chooses a different child then to wear all the shameful parts that the narcissist doesn't want to own in themselves. So we have the golden child who becomes the good mirror. We have the scapegoat who takes on the role of the bad mirror. However, the narcissist wouldn't see it as a mirror. They would rather see it as the mirror pointing at the child, instead of taking ownership of their own shameful parts. So this is where splitting comes into it. We have the projection here of the good parts and the bad parts, and then the splitting happens where healthy integration in a human being means we're able to go within, we're able to acknowledge our good parts, our talents, our skills, our good qualities, but then we're also able to see our shadow selves, and we're not, we're fully aware of our shadow self, and we're able to bring those two things together in a healthy, integrated whole. I mean, that's what it is to be human. However, the narcissist is not able to do that within them. So what they do outside instead is they split. So the golden child is all good, the scapegoat is all bad. There's a dichotomy between the two. And so it's almost like the narcissistic parent says to the golden child, oh yes, this is me. This is me. And to the scapegoat child, they go, this is not me. This is not me. That's you. This is not me. So you'll often hear when it's the golden child, the narcissist will say things like, oh, we like this, or we're similar like that. Oh, you're so, we have the same likes and dislikes. There's a sense here of bringing that golden child into the world of the narcissist so that they can never discover their own identity, because that golden child needs to wear the idealized version of the narcissistic parent. They need this child to show them their false self. They need a mirror for their false self, and the role of that golden child is to be that good mirror. And that's why it's very hard for the narcissistic parent to ever let go of the golden child. There's a deep enmeshment here, where the separation between the narcissist and the golden child is very murky, because the narcissist doesn't know who they are, and the child, the golden child, is not really being seen for who they are either. They're being told who they are. They're being told who their identity is. And that's why, same with the scapegoat, in fact, they're also told, this is your identity, this is who you are, and you cannot escape that. It's who you are. But of course, it's not. In both cases here, whether you are the golden child or the scapegoat, you have been projected onto. And that's why clients come to me and they're saying, like, I don't know what it is. There's like this tension within me, like, because as much as I'm trying to be who I want to be, I just can't escape these kind of deep rooted beliefs that that's not me, because they've internalized these projections from the parent, and you take them on in childhood as if they are the truth about you, but they are not. So the work that needs to be done here is to sever these projections, is to bring them out and to see they're not you. And then the work of freedom really begins, because you're set free from being a good or a bad mirror and needing to try to be a good mirror. So the origins of sibling rivalry, you can see how that starts to manifest, where one child is the good mirror, one is the bad mirror, and they're both trying to maintain that place of the good mirror. So the golden child desperately clings on to being the good mirror and will do anything to try to hold it. And the scapegoat is sometimes quite jealous, angry, can see the truth, but nonetheless still has this desire to be the good mirror, but perhaps in a different way, is almost to prove to everybody that I can be. So both of these ways of being can keep children trapped and adults trapped in that narcissistic family system. That is a projection. That's all it is. The whole thing is a projection. So what do we do about this? Well, first of all, if you grew up in this type of family and you have siblings, the first thing to do is to step out of trying to compete. And that starts with you. Your siblings might still be competing, but it's for you to step away from getting caught up in trying to one-up each other all the time. I say that with caution, though, because, depending on what role you took on and your type of, whether you're an empath or a codependent, or, there can be a tendency to feel that you need to keep yourself small in order to not pose as a threat or suggest that you are in competition. And that's not what I'm saying at all. It's just to be aware of your own drive potentially to want to outdo or outshine your sibling. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't shine. Another thing we need to look at is, do you do this? I ask myself this question, do I find myself projecting out my shadow self onto others? Am I rejecting this person because it's something I don't want to see in me? Or am I criticizing this person when really there's two fingers pointing back at me? So these types of narcissistic traits are important to be aware of, because we have, if you had a narcissistic parent, you were brought up in that environment, and we do take on that way of being without realizing it unconsciously. Okay, so I think that's all that I'd like to cover in this particular video today. Really, the takeaway from this is that the narcissistic parent has children, and uses them as a means of maintaining their false self-image, whether that's to get the child to reflect back the false self, or to get the child to be the rejected self. And this has a huge impact then on those children, because they take on that role as their identity, as if it's who they are, but it's not. It's who the narcissistic parent is. Thank you, everybody. I hope this video was a bit better today in terms of quality. I'm recording it on a different app now, and hopefully it'll be a bit more pleasant to view. Take care, and I shall see you again soon. Bye.